Reddit Ask Me Anything. My website has prevented murders, school shootings, child abduction and other heinous crimes. Now I'm creating a non-profit to educate kids and adults about internet safety. Ask Me Anything. For the last 14 years, I've operated a website that has received well over 1,000 unsolicited emails from people around the world seeking to cause harm to others. The domain name was chosen for an IT security startup specializing in penetration testing and network security. Unfortunately, the startup never got off the ground and I was left holding the domain name for future email purposes. Nearly 75% of all traffic to the website is organic, meaning individuals in over 160 nations around the world are finding it after searching for the keyword hitman and requesting services which I do not offer. Although that keyword isn't the domain name, the word hit referred to website traffic and analytics and was merely a play on words. People just didn't get it. I'm not surprised that so many people have found the site by searching the internet for the keyword hitman. But I am surprised about the sheer number of inquiries from people soliciting murder for hire services. It was these requests that caused me to redesign the website into what it is today, complete with its own privacy statement and web intake form. The site has subsequently prevented murders, thwarted school shootings, foiled a baby abduction, and other serious violent crimes, and in turn brought several offenders to justice in the process. As an internet security expert, I have decided to create a non-profit organization that will educate users on the true dangers of the internet, including cybercrime, cyberbullying, and related mental health issue. My program will provide eye-opening lessons for both children and adults and also teach about the incomprehensible dangers of the World Wide Web. During the development of this program, I have built strong relationships with various internet safety organizations, cybercrime workgroups, law enforcement agencies, mental health experts, psychological profilers, and other entities, and they have all expressed interest in collaborating on this program. So now that I have spilled my guts here on Reddit, go ahead and ask me anything. How did you first communicate with the authorities that you were doing this kind of thing? Did you approach them with a tip and they asked you to collaborate or what? I guess I'm just curious about some of the details of how this kind of thing was accepted by law enforcement. The first case that kicked it off was in 2008, and after verification of the request, details on individuals and targets info, and other information, I took the printed material to a friend of mine that was a local police sergeant that I've known for years. In more recent cases, I deal directly with detectives that have jurisdiction. They are very responsive once I explain the context of the site. It should be noted that the majority of those referred to law enforcement are asked if they would like to be placed in contact with a field operative who can assist them further. The only caveat to that is if the requester is a minor, or if there is a school involved. Essentially, those that get referred, granted permission to have a UFO contact them. What was the most disturbing crime someone requested? There was a 20-year-old man from Virginia that repeatedly requested to have his ex-girlfriend, her mother and stepfather murdered. As if that wasn't bad enough, he wanted his ex's toddler abducted with the birth certificate and trafficked to another state so he could start a family of his own. This scumbag also had 2 profiles on childcare for hire websites and wanted to watch other people's children. He's now spending the next decade in a prison reflecting on his actions. All 4 victims are alive and doing fine. That had to be surreal, reading those first person, not joking requests. Yikes, I'm really interested in this Ask Me Anything. I hope more people hop on. It's pretty scary, to be honest. The case I was referring to can be found by searching for the perp. Devon Faber, NBC 29 is the news source of. You want to read more about it? I received another email from someone just last night that wanted to have her roommate knocked off. The world is a crazy place. Don't have a question. Just wanted to say thanks for being awesome. I'm just doing my part to help make the world a better place. Thank you. Do you know how many requests you've received? Over 1,000 have been received. Nearly a third of those had enough information to follow up on for further investigation. Some requests were from those seeking assisted suicide, asset extraction, employment opportunities, and even a woman that wanted to get married so she could learn the business. Could you further explain what they wanted in the way of asset extraction? Also, did any of these 1000 plus requests you receive come from undercover law enforcement who thought they were going to bust a hitman? Like, did the FBI ever have an agent ask you to kill someone so they could bust you? Has there ever been any mix-ups like that? It's funny you should mention the FBI angle about the website. The site is directly linked to the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center, IC3Gov, via a couple of banner ads on the page. The agents I occasionally work with are grateful for the direction the site has taken and the fact it's been directly linked to reducing school shootings and other violent crimes. I've even been asked to go to work for the bureau as an analyst and recently applied for a position with the Dodge. The process takes a long time to go through though. Stay tuned. I found your website. That is some scary shit. That people would actually fall for that. With the fill-in form and all. My lord, good job, man. It's truly a scary world we live in with these predators and offenders running amongst us. Thanks. Were you against absolutely all crimes or more truly evil and violent ones? Think like actually trying to place a hit versus someone looking up where to get weed. It was never my intention on fighting crimes against persons. The cases initiated from the site are unsolicited and it's just my position to act as a matchmaker between the solicitor and field operatives, aka law enforcement. I didn't choose the thug life. The thug life chose me, for lack of a better way of saying it. What are your thoughts on the dark web and the deep web? Do you feel your site would be of use on those interwebs as well? Has this site made you look at society differently? On a lighter note, what's the funniest request you've gotten, if any? I have no thoughts on the dark or deep web. That's not where my interest lies. Yes, the site has made me look at society a bit more cautiously. There are a lot of really scary people out there and I've had the displeasure of dealing with a small percentage of them over the years. The funniest, if you can call it that, request I've received was from a lady in the UK that was looking for a hitman husband. She wanted physical contact and was eager to learn the business. Sadly, I had to pass on her offer and we went separate ways. Has anyone ever made a threat of harming you? No, not a single individual. I'm fully aware of the dangers involved, but in the grand scheme of things, threats are everywhere. One can't live in fear, especially in today's world. What's the demographic of people who try to hire you? Or is it pretty random? I haven't crunched the numbers lately, but it appears to be pretty random. For a brief time there were a large number of gamer kids requesting things. Not so much anymore. All this from purchasing a domain. My goodness. $9.20 from GoDaddy. Seriously, it blew my mind as well. Why did you start making this? Or over question, how did you start creating it? The domain was never intended to be used for these purposes. It was initially going to be for an IT startup that never came to fruition. The keyword hit referred to website visitor traffic and analytics, and was a play on words. In 2008, after receiving the first significant email request, that's when the site transitioned from a splash page with email address to what it has become today. Holy shit, you are a great person. How does all of this make you feel? Is the government involved at all, or do you just talk people down from doing these things? Once a request is verified, I'll ask via email if they still require our services and want me to place them in contact with a field operative. Surprisingly, the majority wanted the consultation, so they all get what they asked for. Do you know where I can find a good hitman? Sorry, all of my field operatives are tied up with other clients right now. Please leave a message. Is this website on the dark web? If not, how is it not taken down? How do you know what requests are legitimate? Is there anything police can actually do about somebody just requesting a hitman? It's hosted securely on GoDaddy and the site even has an SSL certificate. I'm not one to dabble in the dark deep web. The surface web is scary enough. GoDaddy security did have the site removed earlier this year but was quick to reinstate it after a brief conversation. The verified leads are asked this email if they require further assistance. If the email bounces, that's pretty much the end of the road. If a person responds and requests further assistance, then it's escalated to the appropriate investigative agencies. In many cases, a welfare check is requested. It enables the detectives to determine the person's state of mind and intentions. I only act as a liaison and provide info for Leos to sort through. Snitch on yourself website basically. Sometimes people can be their own worst enemy. Why would someone not use a Tor browser and VPN if they're gonna do something like that? Why would they give their details out like that too? And is this a normal site or a .onion site? It's a regular site, hosted on GoDaddy and has an SSL certificate to boot. Wavy, so in essence, you'd have to be extremely uneducated to actually search for a hitman on Google. Great work BTW. I'd hate to imagine what would happen if you didn't create the site. I'm curious as to how you make money or if you work a different job. It doesn't seem immediately obvious to me how you do this as a career, or if you do. I do not make money from the website. However, I'm considering merchandise sales. My other gig is unrelated to the website in a much different industry. How have you prevented school shootings? Over 24 of the vetted requests were from individuals who were targeting their aggressor/bully and provided an educational facility as the address they wanted the violent act carried out at. Schools, universities and trade schools were specifically mentioned. What's the name of your website? I'm curious. It is called Rent a Hitman, your point and click solution, and to reiterate, it was registered for IT startup purposes with HIT referring to website visitor traffic and analytics. Also inspired by the Staples Easy button, part of the initial logo had an image of a speedy mouse clicking away computer clients issues. Later on I added the phrase, your problem resolution specialist, just for kicks. What was age of the youngest who tried to perform a crime? 14 years old in Anchorage, wanted his mom and dad taken out, unknown disposition from APD. OMG, what happened next? Was he arrested? The disposition on that case is unknown. I can say that he is now in high school and was running for student council. Hopefully this interaction helped make him a better person. I periodically Google his name to see if there are any new developments. How can you prove you prevented anything? This isn't Minority Report. I keep in contact with Leos who work the cases and receive periodic updates and dispositions. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content. It's free and that's a great price.